Look, ooh, so let me get out of the way. I've got the hiccup, so I apologize in advance. All right, but for this exercise, as with others in this series, I will be reading a paragraph to you. Embedded within this paragraph are the potential for errors related to grammar, syntax, and so forth. Just bear that in mind as you listen to me read it to you. Afterwards, I'll step out of frame, and ideally it's focused and you'll be able to read it. And I'll ask that you pause the video to make corrections independently. And you'll resume, hopefully, once you've made those corrections so that you and I can make corrections together. If, of course, I've missed something or perhaps you have a better suggestion as far as corrections are concerned or revisions, let me know what you did in the comment section below. That would be very helpful for not only me, but for others as well. And ideally, you will find this video helpful. And if that's the case, please give it a like. Excuse me for the hiccup. It helped me out a lot. And subscribe if you'd like to continue to practice with me. For now, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to struggle through these hiccups and we're going to read it together, or I will read it to you. All right, let's fly. All right, it pains me to say it, Fiona, said Patrick, but I'm afraid the British are either unwilling or unable to help us. There are many Irish like us in Boston. Let's go there. 5 weeks later, early in the morning on the appointed day, the O'Donnell family stood on dock number 7 with their bags and with their dog, Spot. They waited patiently until the gangplank was lowered to the dock. Along with the other passengers, they climbed on board. The wealthy passengers headed for their cabins. The poor ones, like the O'Donnells, headed for the steerage section in the deepest part of the ship. All right, let me zoom out a bit. All right, go ahead. Hopefully, can you read that? Yes, you can. All right, go ahead and pause here. And again, please make those corrections and resume when you are ready to correct with me. Excuse me. Ooh, boy. All right. I am moving and shaking and struggling again with those hiccups, but we're going to go ahead and get started with the correction. So it pains here. These are pains as on a window, like a window pane. Instead, we mean like a physical pain or an emotional pain in this case, right? So P-A-I-N-S. It pains me to say, Fiona, said Patrick. Oh, which means this is dialogue. Meaning, to capture that dialogue, I've got to use quotation marks. So I'm going to go ahead and open quote. It pains me to say it, Fiona. And then here, that's our break, because now we're ascribing or attributing that speech to Patrick, said Patrick. And it continues, so I'm going to go ahead and reopen those quotes. But I'm not going to treat it like a brand new sentence since it's in the middle of an existing one. So I'm not going to capitalize the next part of that quote. But I'm afraid the British, which is a proper noun, so we're going to capitalize the B in British, are either unwilling or unable, which should have one N, unable to help us, period. There are many Irish, which is the name of a group of people from Ireland, so we're going to treat that as a proper noun and capitalize it, well, like us in Boston, which is a city here in the US, so we're going to capitalize that as well. Let's go there, period. And I'm going to close quote because now he's ended his sentence or his thought. We continue. 5 weeks later, early in the morning, on the appointed, which has two consonants, so it should be double P, on the appointed day, the O'Donnell family, single M, stood on dock number 7 with their bags and with their dog, Spot. It's the name of their animal, so it's a proper noun. We're going to capitalize the S in Spot. They waited patiently until the gangplank was lowered to the dock. Along with the other passengers, they climbed on. And I'm not actually going to use, well, first, this is the incorrect board, right? This board is like, oh, I'm uninterested in something. Usually what you'll see is, and of course you can include this, B-O-A-R-D. Instead, I'm just not going to include it at all, so I'm just going to get rid of it and end with the period. So they climbed on. It just feels redundant for me personally. Again, that's, in this case, a personal choice, but if you chose to use board, that's fine. Just be sure it's spelled correctly. All right, next, the wealthy, which is W-E-A-L-T-H-Y. So the wealthy passengers headed for their cabins. The poor ones, like the O'Donnells, headed for the steerage section in the deepest part of the ship. Thus concludes, at least for me, any corrections that I can see. Let me know, again, using that comment section below, if perhaps you found something that I've missed, or something that you prefer or would have suggested that I use instead. All right, thank you for joining me. Subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to working with you in the future. All right.